All right, today we're going to dig into a really powerful, and let's be honest, super frustrating question. Why do we sometimes become our own biggest obstacle? We're going to explore this fascinating psychological idea called the barricade of symptoms to find out.
I mean, you know this feeling, right? You've got a big goal, a huge opportunity right there in front of you, and then suddenly you're procrastinating, or you feel kind of sick, or you pick a fight out of nowhere. It's that classic, maddening sense of being your own worst enemy.
Well, it turns out there's a really deep psychological reason for this. We often build the very cages that hold us back. So the real question is, why? Why on earth would we do that? Let's get into it. This whole conflict, between what we want and what we do, it leads us right to the heart of the issue, the self-sabotage paradox.
It's such a strange contradiction, isn't it? We have these powerful dreams and a real desire to achieve them, and yet it feels like some part of us is actively working against those goals, especially when the stakes are high. It might seem totally illogical, but as we're about to see, this behavior actually serves a very specific, hidden purpose.
And to understand that hidden purpose, we gotta turn to the work of psychologist Alfred Adler. He came up with this brilliant theory that just unlocks the whole paradox, a concept he called the barricade of symptoms.
Now, what's really interesting here is the language. Adler says we select our symptoms. That headache you get right before a big presentation? The sudden bout of anxiety before a final exam? According to Adler, these aren't just random things that happen to us. They are symptoms we unconsciously choose to build a wall, a barricade between ourselves and a challenge.
This really gets right to the heart of it. The barricade of symptoms, you see, it isn't the real problem. It's a solution to a completely different one. It's our mind's carefully built justification for backing away from the responsibility of our own potential. But why? Why would we ever retreat from our own talents? Well, according to Adler, it all comes down to a really powerful and often hidden motivation, the ego's defense strategy.
So, this is the crucial point. We have to reframe how we think about self-sabotage. It is rarely about some simple character flaw like being lazy. It's a sophisticated, even if it's completely self-defeating, defense strategy. The ego is just terrified of being tested and being found inadequate. It would rather not play the game at all than play and risk losing.
So you can kind of see the two paths our mind can choose here. On one side, you've got the arduous road. Yeah, it involves hard work, and there's a very real risk of failure, but it's the only way to build genuine, rock-solid self-esteem. Then on the other side, there's the barricade. It seems so much easier because it offers a guaranteed excuse and a way to avoid the test, keeping this fragile idea of our own potential perfectly preserved because it's never been tested.
Now, this might sound strange, but this act of building an excuse, it actually provides a weird kind of relief. This is what you could call the freedom in failure. I mean, think about it. If you stay up all night before a huge exam, you can just say, well, of course I didn't do well, I was exhausted. You've created a perfect external reason for failing. The barricade, in this case, being tired, takes all the blame. Your actual ability is never put on trial. And that immense pressure to perform, it just evaporates.
And this whole thing builds into a really predictable cycle. It all starts when a challenge shows up. That immediately triggers a deep fear of not being good enough. In response, the mind unconsciously selects a symptom. Maybe it's procrastination, maybe it's a sudden headache. This symptom then becomes the perfect justification to avoid the challenge. And the end result? The ego is safe, and its illusion of competence is never truly tested. The cycle can just repeat over and over again.
But all this protection, it comes at a huge cost. That cycle we just looked at isn't just a pattern. It can become a prison. These are the chains we choose to wear. And this is the ultimate tragedy of self-sabotage. The very wall we build to protect ourselves from the pain of failure also blocks us from the possibility of success, of growth, and of the fulfillment that comes from actually using our talents. It keeps us small just to keep us safe. So, what are the key things to take away from all this? First, remember, this is a defense, not a defect. It's not a sign that you're lazy or that you're broken. Second, its main job is to protect a fragile ego. It's a shield. Third, it's a clever, sneaky way to avoid the responsibility that comes with your own talent. And finally, and this is the most hopeful part, awareness is the first step. Just by understanding this pattern, you've already started to dismantle that barricade.
So we'll leave you with a final question to think about.
Look at your own life and just ask, what barricade are you building brick by brick to keep yourself safe? And more importantly, what incredible potential is just waiting for you on the other side?